Right now I'm joined by Matt Montgomery from Hammond Residential over in Newton. Matt, you're coming from a market that's been so hot for so long, right? So with that being said, is there any opportunity remaining in that type of market?
Yeah, there absolutely is, and especially when we come into the beginning of a new year. One of the things that's really interesting is because of the way the market works in New England, where we have this strong spring market and the fall's a little bit less predictable, a lot of times there's opportunities in the early part of the spring market or early winter where you can pick up property that's maybe people have overlooked. This last year, the market was really, really hot through the first two quarters, and then it cooled off a little bit in Q3 and Q4. So there are some houses that in the spring would have sold really quickly and for good prices, and for whatever reason, because they weren't priced well, because of some other sort of outlying factor, they got overlooked. And a lot of times, like, a buyer can go in early in the year and buy one of those houses at fall prices, even though we're getting into the spring market. So one of the things I do when I have a buyer that right now is I go and look at, like, okay, what didn't sell? Either that's on the market and it has a high day count, or oftentimes was even pulled off, in over the holidays, where maybe we can go and we can pick something up that's a really good value.
Very interesting, because a lot of people are just looking at most recent listed in MLS, where there's opportunity that has passed by. You might be able to
and there's great houses out there that didn't sell this fall. I think some of it was because there were some sellers who were aggressive on pricing. I was working on an offer over the holidays on something that's been on for a really long time, and I think it's a tremendous opportunity for somebody. The seller's still being really stubborn about the price, but I think they got a great offer, and if we had been able to put the deal together, it would have been a win-win for everybody.
Sure. And what about those older homes that might need a little TLC, like a renovation?
No, and those are great opportunities, especially for a buyer who wants to get into one of the best neighborhoods in either Newton or Brookline, maybe can't afford the most expensive house in the neighborhood, but does entertain and wants some land. And if you're willing to go look at some of the older housing stock that hasn't performed quite as well in the last 3 or 4 years where the market's been on fire, there's really good opportunities to get into A-plus neighborhoods at, what are reasonable prices. And those houses do a couple things. First of all, they tend to hold their value very well. You're not going to get like this huge upswing on them, but you're also probably not going to lose. And they also provide really good opportunities to add value, especially if you can find a big older house that's got a reasonable size lot, so that if your family grows or your financial situation changes, you can do an addition and you don't have to move and take on the added expense of changing houses, which is way more expensive than a lot of people think. It's easier sort of to stay put and renovate than it is to go and trade and have all the transaction costs, not to mention all the headaches of it.
Join a town or city like Newton and Brookline, right? Location's not changing. It is where it is.
It's only getting better, really, especially because of our access into Boston and to public transportation and 2 of the best school systems in the country. It's just a great place to sort of park yourself and to park your money for the next 10, 20, 30 years.
It's a great place to live.
It is.
So, thank you, Matt. And if you're in the Newton Brookline area and would like to connect with Matt and his team directly over at Hammond Residential, you can go to his website at mattmontgomerygroup.com. And remember, we have more real estate tips right here on our page on Real Estate Talk Boston.